So 26 with the high level outs. Let's go ahead and hook this thing up. Now remember, this is a stock deck for all intents and purposes because I'm using the high level outs. I don't have a stock deck handy, but we'll just pretend like these are the bi-nines or the speakers that come stock in the rear deck or wherever else. You just tap right on into them. That's why I have these wires here ready to go. So let me go ahead and hook up the power and signal up to this thing and we'll see how it does. So why does somebody need a high-low converter when clearly we've got RCAs? Well, the thing is, a lot of people use their stock deck and you don't have RCAs hanging off of the back of that to just tap on in. So you find a couple of speakers in the car, left and right preferably, or just your subwoofer if you want to add a little bit of bass. You tap in with this, high level in, and a clean set of RCAs out. As you can see, these RCAs are unplugged right now. And when this is all done, I'm going to have some RCAs off of this ready to go. Alright, so I got all these probes on this little RCA here. It's kind of a mess, but it's only because I want to show you the DD1 next to the O-scope at the same time. If you're just setting your system up using a DD1, you could just plug the DD1 directly into this. Whoa. Damn, almost dropped it. Like I was saying, okay, got my little probes hooked up, got the DD1 and the O-scope hooked up, playing the same exact track, 40 Hz, 0 dB. We're going to turn this up. We got 40 Hz. Okay, we got distortion, back it off a little bit. And as you can see, when it's distorting, we're also getting a pretty ugly signal here. So I'm going to undistort it. There, it's looking good again. Proof that the DD1 does its job for sure. Okay, so volume 27, distortion. Volume 26, no distortion. Just like when the high-low converter was not hooked up, except for at that point it was over 9 volts out. So now we're looking at 2.2 volts out at 26, which would be nice and low for your RCAs. Even that said, 2.2 volts might even be a little bit low. So what we're going to go ahead and do is we got a couple little gains that we can turn up. So I'm going to turn that up and see what kind of voltage I have and when distortion starts. So let's do that. So I've only got 2 hands and I'm by myself, but I got a little screwdriver right here. I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to turn this screw and you can see the results as I'm doing it. Okay, so I'm turning this up. Back it off a little bit. Look at that. 10.3 volts out, clean. Like I said, most amps aren't going to take 10 volts in. Probably 5 volts at the most. But what that means is that you can keep your gains turned almost all the way down and reduce your chances of extra floor noise. I would say 5 volts is pretty safe for most amps. So what we'll do is we'll just take this, we'll back this down. Bring it down to about 5 volts or so. That's pretty good. So now we got clean 5 volts out coming off your factory deck. And we know this isn't a factory deck. I know it's a Kenwood, but I'm using the high level outs, which would be pretty much the same thing that's coming off of your factory deck. So let's go ahead and hook up the other side and see how this thing sounds. All right, here goes the other side. We want to make sure these are pretty close to each other. So I'm going to go ahead and just turn this thing up. Close enough. 5.06. So we've got clean 5 volts out on both sides. And look, volume 26 is good, nice and clean. Volume 27, dirty. So I'm going to turn this up to 27. We got a little square, a little tiny squareage, and it's already in distortion. So back that off. We know 26 is our number. You can turn it all the way up to 26 and you should be good to go. Just like when we first checked the deck. So that means that the high-low converter is completely matched to the deck. So now I can unplug this, which I'm going to do right now, and send the RCAs over to an amp and be ready to rock. RCA's hooked up. All I gotta do now is play another track. We'll go to track 3. Put this on volume 26. We know 26 is clean. Go ahead and start turning this gain up. There you go. Ready to hook the speakers up and play it.
All heavy, Mars ain't a Chevy. It's crazy how I'm hard, but I'm sharp like machetes. It's my art, but it's deadly. I drop it, now it's ready. I'm feeling like LeBron, balling on my Yetis. I'm on, I'm steady. Sauce, no spaghetti. Yeah, you style red, but it's lost like a Yeti. She see that light skin, she think I'm shallow. Levy, see your heart, but in the dark, she levy. See, I'm hot, so right there I got the upper hand. The making of a Morrison, on time like some supper plans.
So basically, a few minutes ago, these were your speakers. Stock speakers sitting up in the rear deck or in the doors, wherever you get your signal from. And now, those are your speakers. Now you got an amp and everything else hooked up.
You want it, I got it. I'm from the left coast. She on it, I spot it. On it, I spot it. Yeah, sort of hydroponics. I'm fresh, but they love my ebonics. Shit, it's front dope shit. You want it, I got it. I'm from the left coast. She on it, I spot it. On it, I spot it.